What is going on, life fitness coaches? Welcome to another episode of the Change Lives, Make Money Online Trainer podcast. It's your boy, Brian Mark. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about anxiety. Because believe it or not, your boy, just like you, also experiences those feelings. And honestly, I had them today. So a little bit of a backstory. We're traveling right now. So I'm in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for a music festival with my wife and my brother and my best friend. And coming here while in the middle of like a big shift in my business and also being in the middle of selling a property in the Dominican and also just, the day-to-day shit that I deal with running both businesses. And also I had to let go of a key member of my team recently. Like, dude, like to be fully transparent, to just put it bluntly, like I woke up with massive fucking anxiety today. And I haven't had anxiety in a while. And so, when I first felt that feeling of like, holy shit, I'm anxious, I almost tried to ignore it. And I was trying to like bury it and like pretend I wasn't anxious. But the more that I quote unquote pretended I wasn't anxious, the more it just kind of sunk in. And so I'm going to tell you guys what I did today and how I deal with anxiety because, when you are building a business at like every point, like I think that this is a big misconception that a lot of people don't understand is like, you guys think that I always have my shit together, but the reality of the situation is that growing a business is fucking hard. Like it really is. And the reason I say growing a business is hard is because I'm always growing the business. Like there's never a place in time at PT Domination where we stand still ever. Same thing with Aesthetic Nation Gym. Like there's never a place in time where we're standing still. Like we're always growing. And in order for something to grow, in order for me to become better, not only must I, challenge myself to be better, but I'm going to be constantly coming against my own fears, my own limitations, my own self-doubt, my own frustration, my own lack of worthiness, my own lack of skill in certain areas. And that whole like process of evolving is difficult. And that is why a lot of people struggle. And I'm just here to remind you that if you are struggling with anxiety right now because you're working on growing your business and you're feeling that overwhelm and you're feeling that frustration and you're feeling like shit's not working, like welcome to entrepreneurship. Like welcome to the fucking game. Like this is a part of the game. And if you don't like playing that game, you can go work for somebody else where you've got a stable and secure income and the problems that you have are minuscule. And when somebody complains to the boss, it goes to the boss and not to you. But as an entrepreneur, everything falls on your shoulders, all of it. Like all the customer complaints that your people deal with, if they aren't satisfied with the response that your team gets, then your team, that your team gives and your team comes to you, like it all comes back to you as an entrepreneur. And so I think a couple of things are really important to keep in mind. And I'm going to share how I handle anxiety and what I do with anxiety. And feel free to, take what's useful and discard what's not. And hopefully this podcast can help you mitigate/manage your anxiety as you're, moving through your business. So number one is awareness. The first thing I did when I like actually realized I was anxious and it was affecting me is I just like acknowledged that I was anxious. Like I'm feeling anxious right now. I think that like the awareness of like just giving yourself permission to feel how you're feeling is super fucking important. And I just like, number one was awareness. Like I just recognized that I was feeling the feeling of anxiety. And I was like, okay, I'm feeling this. Number two is like, ask yourself what you need right now. Ask yourself what you need. And so for me, this thing that I needed is I needed to take a fucking nap straight up. I got up and I was dealing with fire after fire after fire after fire. And I was like, holy fuck, I'm overwhelmed as shit. I just needed to take a nap. So I did. I just went and fucking took a nap for 30 minutes, got up and I'm like, what do I need right now? I'm like, I need to go to the gym. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym. And I gave myself what I needed. And after my workout, after the gym, I started to feel a lot better and I was able to, process my emotions and work through them. So step number one is awareness. Step number two is ask yourself what you need. Step number three, and I think this is the most important one because I think that this is where a lot of you guys tend to suffer and struggle in silence and you never just let it out. You never just express. You never just communicate. Number three is talk to a friend. Talk to a friend or talk to a mentor or talk to somebody that you can get your emotions out with. I think that a lot of people struggle with anxiety. And, this is something that I have done in the past very frequently is I'm like, oh, I just need to deal with this on my own, or like I'm being a bitch, or like I need to just push harder, or whatever it is. But like it's so important to number one, have people in your life that care about you and want to see you win so you can have these conversations. But number two, like lean on those people when you need them. Like, I know for a fact that every single person listening to this podcast has somebody where if they were feeling an overwhelming amount of anxiety, that they could call and be like, hey, do you mind if I open up and share? I'm struggling a little bit, and I could just use somebody to talk to. I don't really need advice. I just want to talk out how I'm feeling and just kind of get it all out. Like, would you mind if I just shared what's going on right now? And I guarantee you, every person listening to this podcast has at least one person that they could call that would fucking listen. So call them and talk to a friend and get it out, because having that feeling sitting inside of your body and then not doing anything about it is only going to make the situation worse. So call somebody, talk about it, get it out. Now, the last thing, and this is kind of like the icing on the cake. So we've got awareness, ask yourself what you need, talk to a friend. The last thing that I think is important is solve whatever is causing you anxiety and stop running away from it. Like, I've got some shit that I'm working on right now that I just need to fucking solve, that I was frustrated about for 35 seconds. And then I'm I just need to fucking handle this. Yes, it's unfortunate that this XYZ thing happened and I had to let go of XYZ person and blah, blah, blah. However, I just need to solve the fucking problem. And so sitting here thinking about all the things I need to do is not going to solve the problem. So once I've had the awareness and I've given myself what I need and I talk to somebody about it, then I go to solve the problem. And I think that a lot of people struggle because you try to solve the problem while you're still anxious. So you don't process it. You don't give yourself what you need. You don't talk to a friend. You go back to try to solve the problem, but you're still super fucking anxious, which you're approaching the problem or the situation from this anxious state. So you're only going to create more anxious results. So for me, it's working on processing all the emotions and giving myself what I need, talking to a friend, letting it out. And then I'm okay, let's go to work and fucking figure out why I'm feeling this way and then solve that problem. So that's it. That is all. That is how I deal with anxiety. Hopefully this podcast was helpful for some person that's listening that might be struggling with anxiety as well. I want you guys to know that every level that you climb to will bring a different devil, because there's always going to be something that you need to grow through. And as you're growing and as you're evolving and as you're becoming a more evolved version of yourself, you are going to come against your own limitations and your own fears, your own frustrations, your own self-doubt, etc. And so keep going. Understand that in life, you're growing or contracting. Both are uncomfortable. The difference is that on the other side of growth is prosperity, and on the other side of contraction is scarcity. So choose to make the decision to continue going, even when it gets hard, even when you're anxious, even when you're tired, because on the other side of that, the rewards are so much more fruitful. That's it. That's all. I hope you guys have the best day of your entire lives. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. Hopefully you got some value. If you did, and you want to learn more about how me and my team can help you scale your online fitness business to $10,000 a month, DM me 10K on Instagram at TheRealBrianMark for more information, and I'll reach out to you to see if I can help you grow an online coaching business.